Hi guys, welcome back to Undefined Life. It's Tash here. So today I want to talk about how you can connect to your intuition, because on the spiritual journey, when we are trying to live more in soul alignment, it's essential that we start connecting with our innate guidance system, which is our intuition, so that we can make choices that are aligned with our soul trajectory, our soul mission, and what we're here to do in this life. So there are a couple of elements to this, but I'm going to start with the most fundamental thing when it comes to connecting with your intuition. And I don't see this spoken about all that much, but it is the underlying basis for everything else that you can do in order to connect with your intuition. So the first thing, if you take nothing else away from this video, that you must do in order to connect more deeply to your intuition, which is the voice of your soul, which is the higher dimensional aspect of your consciousness communicating with you, in order for you to connect with that part of yourself, you must be present. Okay, so presence, being mindful, being actually in your moment-to-moment experience, is the prerequisite for connecting with your intuition. And I'm going to share with you a very brief story now that I experienced today, which inspired this video, to tangibly explain and kind of illustrate why this is so important. So my internet connection here at my house is a bit dodgy. I often go into a cafe to work, and there's a particular cafe I like to work at. The internet connection's good, the people are friendly, it's got nice vibes. So my mind, when I realised I had to go out to the cafe for the internet, thought, okay, let's go to this cafe. And as I was driving towards it, I just sensed this heaviness in my body when I was connecting with this cafe and the idea of going there. And then I got this kind of intuitive nudge to go to a different cafe, which I've only ever been to once here in central Milton Keynes. And I thought, that's a bit random. Why would I go to that cafe? I don't really know it. And it was nice, but I always enjoy going to this other cafe. So as I was approaching the turning, which would have taken me to my favourite cafe stop, the energy was just heavy. I looked in the direction of the cafe and it was like a stone dropped in my stomach. When I looked straight ahead of me, I felt light and expansive. And so as I was approaching the traffic lights, they all turned green at the same time. And I just went straight ahead instead of turning towards my favorite cafe through this like green light stream, which was like, you know, the universe saying, go this way. And I parked up at a free spot. And my head said, oh, I can't be bothered to walk all the way over there. Just go to this one instead. No, again, this heaviness. And so I carried on going to the cafe that I was feeling nudged to go to. And I had the thought just before I entered, I wonder if there's someone here that I'm supposed to meet. And within about 5 minutes, I connected closely with one of the waitresses there, one of the lovely ladies that was working behind the bar. And she was a young lady, only 19 years old, but on her awakening journey and in need of support. And we had a really lovely conversation and we've exchanged details. And it was very uplifting for me to speak to her, especially being so young, to see her really kind of digging deeper and asking these important questions. That just lights me up, because, you know, the young people that are awakening now, they are the future. They are the leaders of the new earth, and so they need the support so that they're ready to really step into their soul mission and power. And it was really uplifting for her too, because she felt like she wasn't alone anymore. And I said that there are people around here that we can connect you with. There are other support networks online, and I'm going to send her some resources and we're going to connect again. So the moral of this story is that when we are present with our now moment experience, when we're actually in the moment instead of in our minds thinking about what we're going to have for dinner, or why did they text me that, or what should I be doing later today, or what still needs to be done on my to-do list, when we're not engaged in all of the noise of the mind and we're actually present with our body, that is how we access our intuition. We can only access our intuition in the now moment. And this is key. Intuitive guidance, your soul communicates with you in the now, in the present. Okay, so if you're in your mind, you're either in the illusory future or in the past, and therefore you're not connected to your present guidance that you're receiving. So presence, that is the foundational element to you being more connected to your intuition and therefore to your soul. So if you do nothing else after this video, I really invite you to start weaving in a mindfulness practice into your day-to-day routine. I will make an entirely separate video around how to be more present and how to start practicing living a conscious life using presence as the foundation. But just for the sake of this video, I would suggest finding pockets in your day that you would do routinely, for example, brushing your teeth or preparing your food, where you make an effort and you're intentional to be present in the moment, and just start building in a mindfulness routine into your day-to-day experience. And the reason I talk about intuition as a prerequisite, the reason I talk about the presence practice as a prerequisite is because the predominant way that we receive intuitive guidance is through the body. So if we're not present, if we're not connected to the now moment and what we're experiencing right here and now, we are missing all of the intuitive guidance that we're constantly receiving, all of the feedback, all of the energetic information that is available to us. We are missing all of that if we are absorbed in the mind, or we're dissociated and we're just completely disconnected from the body altogether. So the second thing I want to talk about with regards to how you connect to your intuition is start really connecting with your body. And you can do this in any number of ways, through physical exercise, through practices such as, yoga asana, so a posture practice, body scanning. But I want you to really understand the importance of beginning to get to know your body landscape. Because when you receive intuitive guidance, most of the time it's being received through the body. And so you need to get to know your body and how you feel in certain situations and how your body responds to certain people, certain environments, certain thoughts, so that you can get familiar with what feels expansive and aligned and what feels contracted and egoic and not in alignment. And when you are connected to your body, and you start to get to know your body's language and the way that it speaks to you, you'll start to be able to detect the subtle ways that you are always receiving intuition, because it's not a kind of one and done thing. We're living in a multidimensional reality. We are always connected to our soul self at the multidimensional level. We're always connected to source, but how present and aware of that are we is a different matter. So a couple of ways that you might be able to feel your intuition could be, for example, hot and cold. When I'm talking about intuition with people, we want to talk less about feelings and more maybe about sensations in the body. So I'm going to just give you some examples. As I mentioned in my story earlier, when I was approaching my potential cafe stop, the one that I was thinking about going to originally, there was this heaviness, right? And there was this, I described it as a kind of stone in the pit of my stomach. It felt contracted to me. So what I've found is that genuinely most people receive intuition as a sense of feeling warm in the body. And that doesn't necessarily mean at the physical kind of temperature level. That just means that a more inviting, there's some kind of inviting sensation in the body. It can also feel expansive. It can also feel light. Okay, so if you're visual like me, you may also receive it in the form of almost color, where one choice feels physically lighter and the other feels darker, which is how I received guidance about the cafe I should go to today. And so you really want to get to know the landscape of your body and how it's communicating with you in different situations. And I really encourage you to play with this, so you can actually do different games. And if you want to strengthen your intuition, I suggest doing this regularly, just so you can start to get to know the way in which your individual body and energy field responds to energetic information and soul guidance. So, for example, you can do really basic kind of this or that kind of contrasting games in order to feel into what feels like truth in your body versus what feels like either a fallacy or doesn't feel aligned. So for example, you could start with simple things like, my name is Natasha, right? I'm 29 years old, both truths. And then you could say a third thing and say, I live in Tulum, Mexico. That's the dream, but it's not the reality right now. And there's already a sense of contraction in my body. There's a sense intuitively that that's not correct. So you can start with these kind of contrasting statements just to get a sense of what does truth feel like versus what does either a lie or a fallacy or an untruth feel like in your body. And then start playing with it in terms of the decisions you need to make at the small levels. So not necessarily big life-changing decisions to start with, but you can just play with small decisions you need to make throughout with your day. Like, what do I want to eat? If you've got a couple of options, hold those options close to your body. Look at the food in front of you and just notice how you feel when you are kind of considering your options. This is often how I will pick my oracle cards when I'm doing an oracle card reading. I scan through the different decks that I have, and one will just stand out to me. It will almost be like a hit in my solar plexus or my sacral, kind of in the mid to low torso area, where it will just kind of start tingling. It will light up, and I'll know that that's the deck that I'm being guided to use. So being present, connecting with your body and the sensations it's communicating with you, both essential. And also, being present allows you to then begin to notice the thoughts you're having that are unhelpful. And it also allows you to then start noticing intuitive downloads that you get via your mind consciousness. So everyone's intuition presents differently for them. But another common way that we receive intuition is in the form of either images or visualizations or words, certain songs or song lyrics, which is again all received through the faculty, through the kind of capacity of the mind consciousness. So this is why, again, being present is so important, so that you can notice when a random word or a random song or a random visual or even just something that may not be super clear visually, but a sense of something in your mind's eye comes through, you can notice it and you can just begin to explore that with curiosity. Why did that come through at this time? What's happening in my environment that is potentially related to the guidance I've just received? So I really encourage you to just begin with a foundation in presence and then start playing on a day-to-day level, as I said, with your choices that you need to make and just noticing the feedback you're receiving as you move through your day. Also start becoming aware of the thoughts you're thinking and coming back to the present moment so that you can be a clear channel and available to receive intuitive guidance. Because you will also be receiving intuitive guidance from your team of light, whether that's your ancestors, whether that's your spirit guides, whether or not that's an angelic team if you work with the angelic realm. That could also be intergalactic guides. I work with the Lyrans as a starseed. So how you receive your intuition is going to be individual to you. This is not a finite list, and this is not, exclusively how you're going to receive intuition, but this is just some guidance on how you can begin to connect with your intuition. And connecting to your intuition is a bit like strengthening any muscle that you have in your body. If you have not been present for most of your experience so far on Earth and you're beginning this process, it might feel a bit alien to you, and you might feel like you're not necessarily receiving any guidance. My suggestion is just to continue with curiosity. When we get frustrated and we become really kind of tense again, we stop the flow of energy, we stop the flow of that guidance being received through the body in the present. So really just allow yourself to be open. And the final thing I want to suggest for you to try and connect more strongly with your intuition is to start asking questions. Now, you could say that you're directing these questions to your soul or to source directly, whatever feels most, relevant and suitable and aligned for you. But asking questions is an amazing way to begin to receive intuitive guidance. Our subconscious is the realm of everything that's obviously we're not consciously aware of, but it's also the realm of where the intuition through our kind of consciousness, it's how it emerges. And so the subconscious responds really well to when we ask questions, because then it starts to formulate the answers, right? It's like problem solving mode is activated. So asking questions, whether that's, a prayer to the divine or whether that's a question to your higher self, your soul, start asking questions that you want to receive the answers to, and then be open, using the different ways that I've spoken about, to how you receive that guidance. Often we can get a bit disheartened when we ask a question and we don't receive immediate, clear, either validation or, answers with regards to what we want to know. Trust that you will receive the guidance. You've asked the question. It's been that question has been cast out into the quantum field and it's been cast out to source consciousness. Trust that as an expression of source consciousness, you will receive the answer. Like attracts like, okay? You will receive the answer, but you need to be open to receive. And in order to be open to receive, you must be present. So I hope this was helpful. It's just a quick little video to help get you started with connecting to your intuition. If you've got any questions or comments or any other suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. If you're not already subscribed and you like this type of content, please hit the subscribe button. Also, hitting the like button and sharing really helps with the algorithm, so I appreciate that if you enjoy this content. And if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm quite active on Instagram, so please join me there at Undefined Life, spelt in the same way as the YouTube handle. And I look forward to connecting with you again really soon, Soul Family. Take good care.